Welcome, friends. If you're tuning in today, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Because the story I'm about to share with you is one of pain, loss, and yet, above all, hope. It's a reminder that even after the most devastating storms, the sun can still break through. Our focus is on none other than beloved television personality and longtime inspiration, Kelly Ripa, and the shocking update she's just shared: I lost so much. You likely remember Kelly's radiant energy, the bright laughter on Live with Kelly and Ryan, the effortless charm, the sparkling connection. For decades, she's been the face of morning television, a warm presence in millions of living rooms. But behind that smile, there was a story few of us were aware of. A story of quiet heartbreak. Kelly recently admitted, "I lost so much." Not just in the visible sense, jobs, projects, audiences, but deeply, personally. She lost friends. She lost pieces of herself. And many of you, especially those of us who've reached our 60s, who've seen life's full spectrum, will know that when a person says "I lost so much," they mean something far deeper than an item or a job. Pause. What triggered this moment of truth? What led Kelly to open this door and pull back the curtain? Let's step inside. Picture this: decades of early mornings, stage lights, live audiences. A familiar rhythm. Then suddenly, things shift. Contracts expire, co-hosts change, corporate decisions are made. Kelly saw this. And at one point, the spotlight she'd stood in so confidently began to dim. In her own words, the phone didn't ring as it used to. The familiar applause didn't echo quite so loud. And down came the curtain on routines that once seemed unbreakable. For someone whose identity was bound up in that bright stage-light glow, it was destabilizing. If you've lived through change, retirement, the passing of peers, the dissolution of old routines, you know, you don't just lose a job or a stage. You lose a home for your spirit. And Kelly felt that, hard. But the professional shifts were only part of it. More quietly, and far more painfully, Kelly experienced what many of us dread: heartbreak in her personal life. Lifelong friendships fractured under pressure. Promises made in youthful innocence broke in harsh daylight. She said flat out, "I lost so much: trust, connection, the sense that I mattered." And yes, this may sound familiar to you watching at home. Because in your 60s, you know these losses. The children who moved on. The friends who passed away, or simply drifted. The marriages that ended or changed shape. Those losses are not less real than job setbacks. They strike at the very roots of our identity. But, and here's the turning point, Kelly didn't let that define her. There came a moment when Kelly looked around and said, "This isn't what I signed up for. This isn't how I want to live." She described one particular night. The laughter had gone, the stage was empty, and she found herself alone, staring at a photograph of younger days. And in that silence, she cried. If you've hit a moment where the silence of your home seemed louder than any applause, you'll recognize the voice of that moment. It's the voice that asks, "Who am I now?" It's the voice that whispers, "Is this it?" And Kelly heard it. And here's where I'll leave a cliffhanger. At the very moment when everything seemed lost, she found something unexpected. Something small, almost invisible, and yet powerful enough to change everything. I'll share what she found in just a moment. In the depth of her grief, Kelly discovered a lifeline. It wasn't a new show, or a new contract. It was much more fundamental. She began to reconnect with her deeper values: family, authenticity, purpose beyond the bright lights. She started spending time off camera with her husband and children, revisiting truth rather than performance. Imagine someone famous for decades choosing the quiet of a kitchen conversation over the roar of an audience. That's exactly what she did. And in doing so, she rediscovered her why. Her anchor. For you, at this stage in life, maybe you've done the same. Perhaps you shifted from career to community. Maybe you swapped busyness for being. Kelly's journey reflects that challenge. When you think you've lost so much, maybe what you must find is what you never noticed was missing. Then Kelly did something remarkable. She spoke up. She allowed herself to be seen, not as the untouchable star, but as a vulnerable human being saying, "I'm hurting."